So the hoof outside, so the shoe of the cow, is basically in two parts: the outer hoof and then the sole at the bottom.
So if you're going to relate this back to a runner wearing Nike shoes, these would be the shoes that are over the top of his foot, is that right?
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
Wicked.
So brand new Nikes that are got nice hard rubber. Mate, you can go run on a gravel road, full noise, no problem at all, and you're nice and stable.
Alright, I think we're going to go through what the structure of a foot is and what it looks like. So we've got a pretty little picture here. This guy's a bit of an artist himself on his off days. Let's go crack into it, mate. What have we got going on here?
Yeah, so there's quite a few different parts to the foot, and it's pretty complicated. So you did a great job of drawing the outline there. So basically you got the front toe here, and this is the heel of the foot. So just to give you a bit of perspective, and obviously this is the little bit of hair that sits above the top of the horn there.
Yep.
So essentially, I'm not going to break down all the bones and the ligaments and all that sort of stuff. Only thing I'm going to talk about is the structures that are important to the function of the hoof around what we're seeing with lameness and nutrition, essentially. So the key areas to look at is the white line. So essentially the white line sits just in here, and if you're looking at the underside of the hoof, this is the line that basically is traced around the outside of the hoof.
Yep. So traced around the outside of the hoof. Is that right?
Yep.
So right around. So it doesn't just drop in there.
Yep.
It's right around the rim.
That's right, because we're looking from the side, you see the white line on the side here, but if you look from the underside of the hoof, you see the sole in the middle, and then you've got the line around the outside of the sole, and then just the very small outsides of the outer or the side hoof that come in there. So this is the outer hoof wall, essentially. So this is all dead, hard keratin tissue, and so this is what protects the inner part of the hoof, essentially. And then underneath here it goes all the way along. This is the sole. So the hoof outside, so the shoe of the cow, is basically in two parts: the outer hoof and then the sole at the bottom. So both are really important, but both sit independent of each other, connected by this white line. So if you're talking white line disease, cracked hoof separation of the white line, that's when this outer hoof separates from the sole, essentially.
Crazy. So if you're going to relate this back to a runner wearing Nike shoes, these would be the shoes that are over the top of his foot, is that right?
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
Wicked.
So brand new Nikes that are got nice hard rubber. Mate, you can go run on a gravel road, full noise, no problem at all, and you're nice and stable.
Yep.
Old crap shoes that are all worn out and soft soles, that's when these keratin layers have started breaking down, and that's like your cow sort of very gingerly walking down the race because your shoes are not in great nick. So the idea of these videos is really to teach you guys more around nutrition and helping the cow build a really strong hoof.
Cool, so she doesn't have to go to Rebel Sports and get a new pair? So that all comes through. You're like our Rebel Sports having a sale on, is it?
Yeah.
You're going to give us all the nutritional knowledge so that she can hopefully replenish herself some new shoes.
That's right, and the beauty of the cow is she builds her own shoes. So.
That's pretty crazy. I wish my missus did that.
They're a lot cheaper.
$1. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. So the other parts of the hoof is this fat pad, which is a really fascinating part of the hoof. It's the cushion. So basically it's a pad of fat that sits under the sole, and it cushions the sole.
So is it literally like that bit of air that's on the back of like Nike ears?
Yep, or your Air Jordans.
Air Jordans?
Yep, that's right. So every time the cow steps on a stone or anything, that cushion just helps sort of, it helps reduce the stress on the pedal bone here. What's important here is this cushion is either thicker or thinner based on the body condition of the cow. So if she's a low body condition score, she often has a thinner cushion and a thinner sole. So your cows that have higher body condition basically can walk on more stones without the risk of damage than cows that are lighter in condition, essentially.
Really? So it'd be like walking with a Olympic weightlifting shoe, which is just flat, and there's just a big solid pad there, as opposed to some Air Jordans.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
Wicked.
Yeah, or a crusty old jandal. It's got nothing left in it versus a nice thick hunting boot.
Yep.
But then we've got the pedal bone in here. So this is a solid piece of bone.
Pedal.
The pedal bone, yep, which sits right in the base of the foot. So if you're seeing things like laminitis, where this hoof horn is starting to splay out in a really horrible angle like that, you're actually seeing all the structure in here starting to break down, and I'll go into more detail soon. But what happens is this pedal bone starts moving this way. And so as it moves down because there's more weight on the center or the sole of the hoof, because the outer part of the hoof and the sole are starting to come apart. And so when they come apart, it's like your shoes are falling to bits, and the sides of the shoes start lifting up, and then you're putting more pressure on the sole. So the sides of the shoes are not working very well, but the sole is taking all the brunt. And so this starts slipping, the pedal bone starts going down, and then you start having all sorts of issues in the sole.